everybody, and welcome back to another video. And this is going to be my July wrap up of like all the books I've read in July. I honestly didn't read many, so I only read 5 this month, and 2 of them I started before, one of them a long time before. But anyway, I didn't really have the best month, just like mentally and just other things. It was also really hot, like UK heat wave, and I was watching like the women's Euros and England won it. So yeah, thank you very much, girls. I love you. I'm so proud of you. I've been following like women's football for a very long time, and I just much prefer it over like the men's game. So yeah, I'm just really happy. The first one I read was this one. This is Boy Erased by Gerard Conley, and I did watch the film first of all. I watched it like when it came out like a couple years ago, and the film was based on this memoir. I think I kind of actually preferred the book. I rated this 4.75 stars. This is basically a memoir about Gerard Conley, and each chapter is it's about the days that he spent in Love in Action's like anti-gay conversion therapy like program, and I think he was there for about just over a week, I think. And then like, so each chapter is about that certain day, about like what happened, and like just about like the rule books and different like characters and things like that. And then interjected in between them is like thinking back over his like life from like sort of like teenager years up until the moment that he went to LIA, about like coming to terms with like sexuality sort of, and then like hating it because like his father was like a pastor and like very religious like community and family and like friend group and everything. And then like he goes to university, and then he's like sort of like feeling a bit more like free and open, like questioning things. And then like it's like really sad because like he basically he is raped by like someone that he was like beginning to form like a really nice like connection relationship with. And it's like it's and then he's like, is this what gay sex is? Like, is this is this what it's gonna be? And then he's like even more hating himself, and then he gets outed to his parents by the guy who raped him, and then they're like, okay, we need to do something. And yeah, it's very sad, but it is quite uplifting at like the end, and he got through it. And yeah, but it's just like a lot of it is like just so much like self-hatred, and yeah, oh, I don't know, but it was written like really exceptionally well. And yeah, and it's just like gives an insight into like what goes on in like people's mindset of that are like forced to go to these like conversion therapy places, and like it's still not banned in like so many places around the world, and so many like thousands of like teenagers, like gay teenagers, are going through like really like psychological and like physical in some points like pain, and just because like they are queer. And it's just, oh yeah. But anyway, if you want to like get more like information on these sort of things, then this book is really like well written, and I would totally recommend it. And then the second book I read, I finally finished The Handmaid's Tale. I started this literally ages ago. I was reading it on audiobook on YouTube by Elizabeth Moss, the star of the show. So yeah, I finally finished this month, and this was another 4.75 stars for me. I really like enjoyed, like it's like a psychological and like descriptive like masterpiece. It's really good, and really makes you think and stuff. Initially I gave it 4.5 stars, but then when I was just like this story and world like took over my mind, and I was like constantly thinking about it, and I've started to rewatch the show again from the beginning. getting ready for when season 5 comes out, and I was like, this book is just, it's so impactful, it's so like in my mind. I have watched the show before reading the book. Once again, I prefer the book, which is kind of weird because I was like, I really do enjoy the show, but the book is, it's just, it's so good. I love it. It's just the way it's written and the way it like impacts you. Like, if you don't know what it's about, where have you been? But basically, the main character, Offred, I'm not going to call her June because her name is Offred in the book, and same as the second one, and we can kind of guess like that her name is June because that's the only name that isn't mentioned when they're secret in their names in the start. So, but the show outright given her like that name. It's like, yeah, she should have her own name, but then like there is so much power in the fact that she knows her own name in the book, but she doesn't choose to share it. She withholds that power. She has like another element of her like internal like rebellion and power that she's like sharing with us. So yeah, but anyway, Offred, she is like captured trying to escape the like coup d'etat, the coup that happened in America, and then like the sons of Jacob took over control of like the government, and they're like a religious theocracy. And yeah, and then well, she gets captured and she's forced to become a handmaid, which is basically like a state sanctioned surrogate for like rich families, because she's fertile, and in this like dystopian speculative fiction world there's like radiation poisoning and like high infertility, and then like if you read the historical notes, like it's primarily like white babies are not being born, and then they're all like, no, we need white children, because they're also racist and homophobic and just slut shamers and just horrible people. I hate this Gilead, like the Son of Jacob, oh my god. But yeah, what am I talking about? I love this book. I just can just go on tangents and tangents. But let me get to the plot. Basically, yeah, so she is been assigned to Fred and this household, and it's basically just like her like telling her story, and like flashbacks to like before Gilead like became Gilead, and like her like family and like friends and like her child, and then like the world building of like Gilead, like it goes through the whole book, and it's like so descriptive and like so psychological and like just like a masterpiece. And what I love most about this book is how she creates a separation between the physical and the mental, and it's in like she withholds this mental power, and that's her rebellion, and it like shots through, and it's like so emotive, and like you feel it in you like reading these like her like story. And it's in this society where like everybody but primarily women are categorized, and like their power and ability and stuff is like all to do with like their body and what they can provide for like Gilead. And yeah, it's amazing. And yeah, and then also I love the like historical notes, which like everyone should read them, like the historical notes, and analyze them. And in it there's like male historians like took her story and reconfigured it, and then it's like such an injustice, because they're basically like diminishing her story and like trying to like analyze its truthfulness, which I mean, yeah, we do like historians do that, but like which like is true. That's why it's like speculative fiction, like all these things could happen and like do, but like the way like they're like trying to like decide if her story is true, and like sort of like brushing it off in a way. And like there's a part of it where she's like saying like, I wish like this story could be better, I wish it could be like, I don't want to tell you my story, but I feel I have to. and she's in like literally like physical and psychological pain telling this like her storyline. And then for historians of the future, you'll just be like, oh, is it true? Like, yeah, like she is literally like, oh, I don't know, this bit. I don't want to be telling this story. I don't have to tell it. I don't have to tell anything to myself or to anyone else. I could just sit here peacefully. I could withdraw. It's possible to go so far in, so far down and back. They can never get you out. Noliti bastards carborundia, which means don't let the bastard grind you down. What a quote. Fat lot of good it did her. Why fight? That will never do. God, I love her. She's I love her friend. She is just so much power. And the end part, the end bit is like the ambiguity is just divine. And like it's also brought upon in historical notes, because you're like, what happens to her? She enters the darkness or the light. We don't know. What does she like? What happens to her? And it's just, it's like hopeful, but also like scary. You know, like, did she get captured? Did she get killed? Did she get away? Was she like brought to safety? We don't know. And it's just, read this book. It's amazing. The Scarlet Letter. This I gave 2.25 stars. It's basically about Hester Prynne. She commits adultery. And she has a baby, and then she's like put in prison, and then she like comes out. It starts at her like leaving prison. I didn't read the introduction because that thing was too long. I'm not here for it. So I just read the actual book. I read it like I was like following along whilst listening to an audiobook on like YouTube of someone reading it, because I was like, I can't be trying to figure out these words, because this was my first like old classic, and I shouldn't have started with this because Mr. Nathaniel Hawthorne. It starts with her leaving the prison with her baby, and everyone's like, look at her, the adulteress, this horrible woman, she's committed such a sinful crime, like whatever. And then she's like made to wear this scarlet letter of A on her bosom, and then we basically just follow her like life and sort of in a way, and then like she goes away and she like does like embroidery and stuff for like people when like she kind of like helps like poorer people, and she just kind of like becomes a nice person. And then they're like the main like mayor or something of like, because it's set in like New England, like Jamestown sort of like era, like they call it like the first colony sort of thing in like Boston or something. And then like the bear person is like, oh, she's not a fit mother, we should take the baby away. And she's like, no, it's my baby, called Pearl. And yeah, I'll get onto that a bit in a second. And then she like talks with like the reverend, who is like important to the story, and he's like, oh no, she's a fit mother. And then like they meet in the woods and they talk and stuff, and then just, yeah, I don't want to like spoil it because like that's sort of like an integral part of the book. But anyway, not only it's not unreadable, but it's difficult to read and difficult to understand, and like his like sentences like literally go on for like a whole paragraph, and it's just not really like, I don't know, I didn't really like it. The story is okay, it's just I didn't really like the way it was written and portrayed, and the way even Hester and like everyone else like talks to and like thinks about Pearl, it's just so like nasty. Like calling her like a witch child, an elf child, like a demon baby. And she's even like, she thinks about like her baby like what are you, like who gave you to me, like you're like a demon, like, and stuff like that. I'm like, that's your literal child, like come on, like why are you like such a like no. And yeah, that bit just kind of irks me, and I just didn't really like it. From what I read, this is the worst book this is like my lowest ranked book I've like ever like read yet, and that was Death of a Salesman by Arthur Miller, which is a play. It's my first play I've read like since like Inspector Calls or whatever in like high school, secondary school, not America. Yeah, I ranked this 2 stars. It's basically about a salesman called Willie Loman, and it's like about like the Loman family, his wife like Linda and their two sons Biff and Happy, and he's like really tired and stuff, and then like he comes home and like his two children that are like grown up have like come to like see him, and then like him and Biff are sort of like arguing because like Biff has like gone to Texas and he's not like achieving what he wanted to achieve for him. And then he's like, oh no, don't worry Dad, I'm gonna like go see my old like boss and ask him for like some money, and then me and Happy are gonna like start a business and stuff. And he's all like, yay, great. And then he's like, okay, I'm gonna like, I can't be doing this salesman like road tripping about like up to like Boston and stuff, like selling stuff. And he's like, I'm gonna ask for just a job in New York, because that's where they live. And then like he doesn't really get it and stuff, and then there's just like a lot of just like I don't know, I didn't like it. Obviously I'm hot. it's a play, so it's meant to be taken in and viewed on theatre, not read, but even so I didn't really like it. And I was just like, where is the spice, where is the like, I don't know, they're all just like boring. Like it's just like basically just like it's like a boring white family. And I don't know, like the topics on like mental health and stuff is like kind of good in a way, but it's like it's from a very like toxic masculinity POV, where like the main guy isn't like, he doesn't want to like talk about it, and he's just like, oh no. And then like the way like they treat like the women in it, like Belinda and stuff, she's just like a prop in a way, and he's always like, oh stop talking, like why are you always interrupting? And she's literally just like, I don't know. And also like the children, how they was like not really talking to her, and then they're like, oh how many like do you want her, and like I can have a many girls and things like that. Like that attitude was just like, I was like, no thank you. Yes, it was written a long time ago, but still, no thank you, I don't like it. I don't know why I even read it. I thought because it was a classic and like other people, and it was like kind of short, but it literally still took me like about 5 days to read because it was just a bit, I don't know. But yeah, I didn't like it. No. Yeah, no, not for me. And then it also like talks about how like about like not living up to your expectations, like put forward like by like parents and stuff, and then there was like told like, oh you can do anything you want, you can be like, you're amazing, you're like really like pretty, everyone's gonna want to be you, everyone wants to be with you and stuff. And then like when they don't really like achieve those goals, it's like worse, and then they also like feel bad themselves. But then I don't know, it was like, it's more to unpack, which maybe my brain wasn't like thinking about, because I just wasn't like invested in the characters, and you're meant to sympathize for them, but I didn't like them, so I couldn't. And anyway, yeah, I'm happy that's gone and done with. And then the final book I read was I read The Testaments by Margaret Atwood. I got this before actually getting The Handmaid's Tale, and then I was like, okay, I need to finish and read The Handmaid's Tale so I can read this, because I was like, it just looked so pretty, and I was just so excited. This I gave 4.25 stars. It like, okay, did The Handmaid's Tale need a sequel? No. Was this what I would have done for a sequel, or like the best sequel? No. Was it satisfactory as a sequel? Yes. Was it a good book? Yes. I did enjoy it quite a lot. And this was the longest book I've like read, like that I know of. Yeah. But I still kind of like flew through it, given the size. Like it only took me about like a few days, I think, like a few like night sessions of reading, because you're hooked and like you want to know and stuff. It doesn't compare to The Handmaid's Tale in like literary heft and importance and like impact, or even like psychologically and like descriptively. Like it's like, you know, like The Handmaid's Tale is just so good. And there's like, it's a lot more like action like focused in this, which takes away the realness that the Handmaid's Tale had. Like, that was like real, and like you could like see like these things happening, but these are a bit more like, I don't know. And also it's quite like more like cleaner and tidy, and things just like, the plot just like fit together a bit too well, and I was missing that messiness and fear and like unknowing and, you know, stuff that the Handmaid's Tale had. Like, it does have it, but it's not as much. And I'm like, this is sort of like the suffragettes to the Handmaid's Tale suffragists. Like, they were like the ideological, like the mental rebellion. This is like the actual like physical rebellion, and like, you know, stuff like that. And yeah, but I did really enjoy it still. It's just like, you always have to compare, like, because it is the sequel, you compare it to the first one, and it does follow, but it's like, yeah. And I'm so happy Offred wasn't like a character in it, because that wouldn't have sat right with me, because we leave her like going into the darkness or the lightness, you know, like that's how you leave her, and that's how she should be left. But yeah, anyway, let me actually talk about what it's about. So it's from 3 POVs. The first one is Aunt Lydia, who is also in Handmaid's Tale, and like it also talks about like how she got to her position and like her power, and how she like works the system and gets like these, like her power is in like knowing facts and like being manipulative and penning people together, and like she is a badass. I wanted to hate her so much because like she's horrible in Handmaid's Tale, and like she's kind of horrible in this and some things, but I was just like, I can't. She's just too much of like, oh, I can't. And like the way she talks, and it's like I don't know. She's like very like, I can't explain it, but I really enjoyed her parts. They were really good. And then the other two are from teenagers, which Margaret Atwood, despite being like in her 80s, I think, when she wrote this, like writes teenagers like really well. One of them is Agnes, who then becomes Aunt Victoria, who is supposedly Hannah, Offred's first child from Handmaid's Tale. And she like grows up in Gilead, and then like she learns that her like mother was a handmaid, and like she was like taken when like before Gilead became like the thing, and then she becomes like an aunt herself, and then like goes to like Adua Hall with like the other aunts and stuff. And then the other POV is from Daisy, who is baby Nicole, who is supposedly the baby that was like taken out of Gilead and like sent, like given to Canada by Offred. So it's like her and Nick's like child, you know. If you need to like read the first one to like understand what I'm talking about, but basically it's like the half sister of Agnes. So yeah, so there's like the two sisters and then Aunt Lydia, and their stories was good, but they didn't compare to Aunt Lydia's, because she was just such like a character. She was just like so like, she knew how to fiddle stuff, and she had that like internal power and that internal like, I don't know, I really liked it, and like it keeps you hooked and you want to read on, and yeah, it was worthy. It just doesn't have that like psychological pull, you know. Yep. But anyway, so these were the 5 books I read. 2 very good, 1 quite good, 2 kind of bad. So I hope to read more in August, because 5 was not really cutting it. And yeah, but I've got some more books. I might do like a book haul soon of like recent books I've got. Anyway, yeah, I hope you're all doing well. I hope you have a nice August, a nice sunny, like nice weather, not heat wave, 40-degree weather. Thank you very much. Anyway, bye bye, have a nice day.